is now 7 o'clock. Welcome. It's 7 o'clock on Friday. I am Kim the Paint Diva, and we're going to go live in a few minutes. We are going to paint Walk in the Woods. Haven't done this for a while, so thank you all for tuning in and welcome back. I hope you had a great summer. Let me know where you're from. Give me a little bit of a shout out. Tell me where you're from and if you've painted with me before. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful painting. And all you need is black and white. It's so cool. So thank you all for joining us. Yeah, like I said, just let me know where you're from. Best thing that I can help and that I can say is that if you're liking something or if you have questions, just shout them out. Let me know when you're ready to move on. Give me some love, give me some thumbs up so that I know that you're still there. And if by chance this does cut out at all, just hang tight and I'll get it right back up, okay? Welcome, Angela from Brampton. This is cool. Very good. Glad to see you here. Oh, did you like the lilacs? I hope you did. Hello, Oshawa. So we're just going to give everybody a few minutes. I hope you all had a great summer. And then all you have to do now, I've got a couple of little messages that are happening here. Hang on one second. Carrie, all you have to do is click like in the event. And then go, just give me 1 second, I'm just responding. Like my page and click going in the event. All right. Okay. Hi, Julie from Bethany. I'm really thrilled. I'm so thrilled that you guys are here to join us tonight with this one. And I am just going to let you know what we're going to use tonight. We're going to use some black paint, clearly, some white paint. I've got a foam sponge brush. Can you see that? There it all is. Tammy, welcome. Cayuga Falls, Ohio. Fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited. Yay, we've gone international tonight, guys. So we've got a foam sponge brush. We've got some Q-tips if you need those. We've got a big brush. If you want to use a big brush, you're more than welcome to use that. We've got a small square. So just a little flat brush. And again, if you don't have these brushes, it's not a big deal because I'm going to show you how to do it a whole bunch of different ways. We've got a liner brush. You see that? A liner brush. And if you want, you can also use a kitchen sponge. I just got a kitchen sponge. Okay. One of the coolest things about how I started and why I started doing this was that I decided that I wanted to do something that paint and be creative and not have to worry about using brushes. And if you go to my webpage, you'll find a recipe for making your own paint if you're having trouble finding paint, because I know that that's been an issue for some people this summer as well. If you live local, and I do these paint parties, I do have some really great kits that I can sell that have the paint and the canvas already in them. So if that ever becomes an issue and I do another one of these, if you guys like what I'm doing, then we can certainly do another one. And I can get you kits and you just pick them up on the porch. I believe Bola, she's done that quite a few times with me. So just to keep that in mind. But if you can't find paint and you can't find brushes, we're going to do a combination of brushes and no brushes. And go to my page and like my page, The Paint Diva, and then you will find the recipe for making your own paint. Alright, so let me know if you guys are ready, if you want to get going. Like I said, just let me know where you're from. Give me some thumbs up, give me some love. If you've got questions, ask them. I do have my very dear friend Colleen. She is going to be monitoring for us, so she'll be able to see everything. And Just hang on 1 second. She can't see it. Let's just double check. That's the trick. Click going in the event. All right. Brooklyn. Hello, Brooklyn. And I've got my phone right nice and tight and close. Hi, Woodstock. Oh my goodness, great. This is fantastic. So hopefully you guys can all hear me. Just let me know. And like I said, if I do cut out or if it does stop, just hang tight and I'll come right back on, okay? All right, so are we ready to go? Give me some thumbs up if you guys are ready to go. And I don't know why you can't hear me all that well. Let me just see if I can, oh, I've got the volume up. I've got the volume up as high as it'll go. Thanks, Angie, okay. Yeah, I do have the volume up as high as it'll go, so I'm not sure. But you'll be able to follow along. Okay, so we've got, this is the end result. And we're going to start with a blank canvas. Ta-da! Just like that. All right. Ready? Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to speak as loud as I possibly can. How's that? All right, so you got two options here now. Two different options. You can use your sponge. There's your sponge. Or you can use your big brush, your big flat brush. And you are going to paint the entire canvas black. You're going to take your black paint, just on the edge of the sponge, and you're just going to paint the whole thing black. Okay? Just fill that whole canvas right up with black paint. Yep. All right. Just back and forth. Okay. If you don't have a kitchen sponge, then go ahead and you can use your brush, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Just right across, side to side, fill that whole canvas up with black paint. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to use the sponge because it goes a little bit quicker. And I just find that I just like the coverage I get with the sponge as well. All right. So what you're also going to want to do when you're painting this canvas is you're going to want to paint your edges. So I want you to paint the sides, this part right here. Okay, make sure it's all painted. Because what happens with canvas over time is if you don't paint those edges, then your paint eventually dries, gets really, really dry. And because canvas is made out of cotton, the cotton eventually shrinks as well. And if you don't paint all of those edges, then it's going to cause your paint to crack on your canvas, and you don't want that. So I'm just picking up the edge, I'm going right down here, and I'm just painting the bottom. And we have our canvas painted just about. And you're going to get a little bit of paint on your hands. That's okay. It's all, every good artist gets paint on their hands. And that's a black canvas, just like that. See, I've got paint. Paint on my hands. And that's all you need to do, is just black paint and cover up that canvas all the way. Okay? That's all it is. Just black paint. You guys take your time, you get that black paint on there, and then you let me know when you have your canvas painted all black. That's all you have to do. We are just getting started and we're just painting our canvas nice and black. That's all you got to do. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect coverage. If you can see really close on mine, you're going to see that there's some streaks and there's some lines, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly black. This is just our base to get us started. So just paint that whole canvas black for me. And then when you're done painting that canvas black, you guys give me a thumbs up and you let me know when your canvas is all black. It'll take a couple minutes, and like I said, you can either use a sponge or you can use the brush. It's up to you, whichever way you want to do it. Okay, it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward, just black canvas. You went from white to a black canvas just like that. All right. So we've got we had a white canvas and we've gone to a black canvas. So when you're all done that canvas, you guys let me know. You give me a thumbs up. And I will tell you that if you're just watching and following along to see what we're going to do tonight, then all you have to do is come back to the page at another time, and you can do this at your own leisure, and you can stop and start and pause me as much as you want. And then after a few days, I will keep this up on my Facebook page, and then I will move it over to my YouTube channel. So yes, the Paint Diva now has a YouTube channel. High-tech stuff. I guess the next investment is probably a microphone for everybody. Okay? So once you've got that black canvas, you've got to let me know so that we can move on to the next step, because I want everybody to be all on the same page together. Okay, so I'm just going like this. I'm going to fan my canvas a little bit. You can do that too. You can just fan it a little bit. All I'm doing is I'm just getting that paint to dry just a little bit. Doesn't have to be super dry. Again, yep, I have paint on my hands. It's all okay. Every good artist has paint on their hands. Look at that, just getting started and already I'm covered in paint. Alrighty, how we doing? We got some thumbs up. Oh, we got it done here. Perfect. Excellent. Thanks, Paula. Okay, I guess that's the next investment then, is a microphone. I will try my very best to talk loud right now, but hopefully you should be able to hear me. All right. As long as you guys like these and enjoy doing them, then I will continue to do them, because with, I think our second wave is coming here in Ontario, and it may be coming in other places. This may be another form of entertainment that's going to start happening. Alrighty. We're good. I see some thumbs up happening. Fantastic. All right, so the next thing I want you to do is you're either going to use some paper towel that's been watered up in a ball, or you can use the other side of your sponge. Whatever works best for you. I'm going to use paper towel tonight because I just happen to have it. So all I did is I took just a couple of pieces of paper towel, just a couple of pieces, and I'm going to just take one off and I'm going to crinkle it all up in a ball. Alright, so if you've got a paper towel handy or a rag, anything like that, you just want to crinkle it all up in a ball, because you want kind of, see how I've got like kind of all these dents and divots, and just, I want it loosey-goosey. I don't want it to be a tight ball like this. I don't want that, because I won't be able to use it and get a nice textured effect. I want it a little bit loosey-goosey, so just kind of see how it's got like some ridges here and there. Like that. That's all I want. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that ball of paper towel and I'm going to dip it in the white paint. Now this might be really hard to see, but there is white paint on there. Okay? And then I'm going to figure out where on this canvas I want that's going to be my center point of light. So it's going to be right about here for me. And I'm going to dab in a really tight circle my white paint. Just like that. Alright? Can everybody do that for me? So I know now that's my center point of light. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I hope everybody understands. And you're going to see a little bit of gray. Look, see, a little bit of wet paint. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that paper towel and I'm going to fold it over top of itself. So I smushed all of the paint inside there, so now I've got a clean surface to go again. Okay, I'll show you. Hang on. Sure can. All I got is black paint and white paint. That's it. That's it. And I'm just dipping into the white paint. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing again. Dipping into the white paint. Got some more white paint on there. So I know that this is going to be my center point of light. And then you'll notice on the outside edge of this circle that it's a little bit lighter than there. So I'm going to start there again because I want to get a lot of the paint off of that piece of paper towel. And it's all going to go right in the center. And now I squished that paint around a little bit. So now I'm going to start carrying that paper towel and I'm going to start dabbing around. And as I'm dabbing around from that center point of light, it gets a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. Everybody see that? Does that make sense? And see, I've got some paint on there again. So you do the same thing with your sponge. You're using a sponge, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to start in the center, and then you're going to work your way out. Top of my canvas. Okay, let me see. Hang on. I'm trying to get it so it's not. Does that work for everybody now? I moved it up a little bit. Okay? So all we've done now, I've done two passes. Done two passes of the white and the black. Okay? Does that make sense for everybody? Alright, so now I'm going to take another piece of paper towel. And I'm going to dip it back in that white again. So I got more white paint on here again. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start in the center to get some of that extra paint off of there. Because I don't want to put all that white paint. And all I've done is just taken the excess off. And now I'm going back out here again. Okay, and I'm going all the way up to the top. And you'll notice that this is always going to be my center point. This is where most of my paint's going to live, right in here. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to fold that paper towel all back in on itself. So I've got some more ridges again. And I'm going back into the white. And I'm putting that extra white in there, right in the center. Ooh, see, there's one little hanging. One little hangy. So all that white's living in the center again. And then I'm taking some of that extra and I'm pulling it out to the edges. And I'm just dabbing, kind of moving my paper towel around as I'm dabbing so that I don't have the same pattern everywhere. Okay, see? There's another one. Another one bites the dust. And I'm going to use one more piece. Rachel, I'm just using, is it Rachel or Rochelle? I'm not sure. I'm just using regular old acrylic paint. Stuff you can buy. You can buy it at Michael's or the dollar store or your favorite craft store, whichever craft store you want. It's just a white paint. You can use acrylic, you can use tempera. If you don't have paint, you can make your own paint. Like I said, there is a recipe on my on my Facebook page to make your own paint. Alright, so I got another ball of paper towel. And I'm just pressing really lightly. I'm not going very heavy. I'm just doing light little blobs. So again, I'm pulling that extra off of there. So I got a nice bright white center. And I'm just pulling that really lightly. I'm just kind of dabbing all over the place with my paper towel. Kind of here, there, and everywhere. Okay, see, you got some gray paint on there again. Gesso will work great, yeah. It will take a little bit longer to dry than acrylic paint, but you sure can use a gesso, no problem. I use acrylic paint because I find that it dries really well, dries quickly, and that I can teach a class in about an hour or two. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go one more pass, I think, with some paper towel. Again, big blob in the center, that's where my starting point is, so there's my blob. And then I'm just kind of going out and around, and I'm making it lighter as I go out from the center of my white blob. And I'm going right over to the edges, right up to the top. Let me see if I can show you that or not. This way maybe a little bit. There we go. And I am going till about 3/4 of the way down my canvas. Okay, and see, I've got some black paint on there. And that's okay. So that's pretty much what we're doing. So I want you guys to do all that. Okay, so just dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. I'm leaving a little bit of black at the bottom, but I want a nice bright white center that's very much part of your painting. And then you're going out from there to make it a little bit lighter. Okay? I hope you guys can all see that and that makes sense. So this is going to be our center point of light. Believe it or not, when this is all done, that's going to be our center point of light on our canvas. So just take your time, just dab really lightly. You don't have to dab really heavy. You can see I've got different variations of black and whites here, kind of all over the place. Okay. So just take your time and you just dab away, and then you let me know when you guys are ready to move on to the next phase. Pretty straightforward, I think, so far. When you guys are done, just give me the thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready to go. Take your time. We're not in any rush. We got lots of time to do this. As long as you got a good beverage with you, then you're all set. It's your time tonight. Because we're gonna do some fun stuff. We're gonna mix some colors. We're gonna mix different shades of gray. Because it's all about the different variations of color that we have in our canvas. It's going to make this really interesting. Okay? You guys let me know when you're ready. It's going to look really cool when it's all done, I promise. So we've got a good center point of light. Now we've got some lighter shades kind of happening here, there, and everywhere. And that's what we want. Okay. I see some thumbs up. We loving this so far? Is it kind of looking cool? Probably wondering where we're going, but you got to just trust the process. I promise it'll work, okay? All right. Everybody that's coming in new, are you guys local? Are you guys from out of town? Let me know where you're from. Oh, I see a few little thumbs up happening. Excellent. That makes me happy. Okay, so now that we've got this kind of funky, who knows what happening, you've got to decide where your path is going to live. Okay, and it doesn't have to be anything big or anything fancy. Oh, Rochelle, thank you for coming from Phoenix. That's fantastic. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make our path. So I am going to use the big brush. I'm going to go back to the big brush. If you don't have the big brush, you can use just a chunk of your sponge. You can use a Q-tip. You can use our little foam brush guy. You can use a medium brush, whatever you've got, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this brush, and I'm just going to dip it in the black paint. And I'm really not going to be able to see a whole lot, but I'm just going to make almost like a backward C down at the bottom. All I want to do is just make a backward C. I'm using the wide brush. Now when I paint in person, I tell people there's two different ways to paint with a brush. You're either going to paint big, wide, broad strokes, so up and down or side to side, using the big, flat end of your brush to put your paint on. Or you're going to paint like a piece of spaghetti, and that's just using the tip of your brush, and you're going to paint skinny little lines, either up and down and side to side. So when you paint skinny lines, or you paint lasagna lines, you get two different effects from the same brush. Hi Daisy, welcome from Nova Scotia. Alright, so all I did, it's probably pretty hard to see, but all I did was I painted an backward C on the bottom of my canvas. Just one stroke. And that kind of gives me the idea of where I want part of my path to live. Okay? That's all you got to do. Does that make sense for everybody? Pretty straightforward, I think. Whoop, let me make sure we get this back in frame, because I picked it back up again. Woo, this way, I think. There we go. All right, I think we're good now. All right, okay. So now we've just kind of got an idea of where our path is going to live. I am going to take my little flat rectangle brush. See this little rectangle? Just like that. I think you guys can all see that now. And remember I just talked about lasagna and spaghetti. So I'm going to paint spaghetti. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint, and I'm just putting some white paint, just some straight white paint on the edge of my brush. So just on the very end. So if you can see that, I'm just going to paint with the very end. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint now some lines on either side of my canvas, on the very outside edge. Because if this is my light source, the further things get away from the light source, the lighter they're going to look. All right, so I'm just going to, and they don't have to be straight, and I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm very, very lightly pressing on the canvas, very lightly, and I'm just going down with some white paint. That's all. Just some straight white paint right down from the top to the bottom. I don't know if you can you see that line? I think you can probably see that line. There it is right there. See that line? That line right there. Okay? And then I'm going to dip right back into that white paint. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to go right beside that stick that I just did. And it's not perfectly straight. It kind of pushes in against each other. And that's all I did, was just two little lines, just like that. All right, can you see those two little lines right there? So I just went straight up and down. They're not perfectly straight. It's just two little lines right there. I'll just paint right over them again. There's one. And it's not going to be perfectly white, because the paint's going to be a little bit wet underneath. You see it? I hope you can see it. Just like that. No, Marnie, you don't want to wet your brush, because if you wet your brush, you're going to keep everything that's on the canvas wet, and you don't want to have anything wet on the canvas, because your paint's already a little bit wet. Okay, so all I did was just two little lines, just there. Everybody see those two little lines? Nothing big, nothing major, just two little tiny lines. Everybody see them? I hope so. You see them? Just right there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, everybody see those two lines on that side? Now I'm going to paint two lines over here on this side. Same idea. I'm just dipping in the white paint, and I'm going to paint two spaghetti lines, and I'm barely touching the canvas, just really lightly. Okay, just two little lines going down my canvas. Let's see if you can see those or not. Right there. Everybody Everybody see those? 2 lines. Woo! Right there. 2 lines going right up to the very top of the canvas and coming down. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. They don't need to be straight. I don't want them to be straight. They're just barely there lines. Let's see if I can go this way. No, gotta go this way a little bit. I might need to move the camera out just a tad so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see if that helps. There, I think you guys should be able to see both sides of that now. All right. So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. They don't have to be solid white. But if you want them to look a little more white, then just go back in with your paint. And they're actually going to turn a little bit gray closer to the bottom. Okay, does that make sense? Am I explaining that to everybody? Are you understanding what I'm saying there? And I'm just going right back over those lines, and it doesn't have to be exact. Make it your world, make it fun, and that's all I'm doing, is I'm just putting a couple of little lines in here and there. Let's see if I can make that work. Ooh, sorry guys. There, can you guys see that now? Should be able to, I think you should be able to see all of that now. Yes, no? So I got 2 little lines over here, and I got 2 little lines that actually one's running into the other right over here. All right, I think that you should be able to see that now. Okay, and they're going to look a little bit gray, and some spots are going to look a little bit white. And if you want to do it with a Q-tip, you can certainly do it with a Q-tip as well. Okay, you can do it whichever way you want to do it. Whatever way works best for you and whatever way you feel the most comfortable with. All right, so just let me know when you've got those 2 little lines on either side. Okay, because this is just part of your, this is, believe it or not, this is part of your woods that we're starting to create. 2 little trees happening over here in the background. Just little white trees. Now, when you've got those little white trees in, the next thing you want to do is you want to put some branches on them. So again, you're going to use your little fine brush, or if you've got your liner brush, use your liner brush, this little guy. And I'm going to show you a trick with your liner brush. I'm going to do it with both brushes, okay? All right. So I'm going to use, first I'm going to use the brush, the square brush. And I'm going to go with spaghetti again, and now I'm just going to paint some branches. And branches kind of live, they don't live straight out, they kind of live on a 45, right? And branches cross over other tree trunks, and they live kind of everywhere, and they just kind of go in and out, and they tuck around, and little branches live off of big branches. So I'm just, all I'm doing is I'm just painting twigs. Can everybody see those? And they don't have to be solid white. They can be all different colors. They can be just kind of going here and there. And don't forget, branches live pretty much on a 45. They start out, they don't go straight out from your trunk. They go out on little angles on your trunk. Okay? And then as you get out there, they go bigger and they go, and the more twigs and branches that you make, the more interesting your painting's going to be. So you'll see I'm just kind of, and I'm crossing over that one in the back, that tree in the back, he's got branches that are coming out over here and they're crossing over, and they're kind of living here and there and everywhere. They're happy little trees, as Bob Ross would say. All right, does everybody see that? And Julie just made a comment about my sound, and I'm wondering, because Facebook did a whole bunch of changes in the last few weeks, it might have something to do with it. So my apologies if it's really hard to hear, but I promise I will get a microphone and we'll make this better. Okay, but just turn your volume up really loud if you want to hear me. I don't know, does anybody really want to hear me that loud? So all I'm doing now is I'm just painting branches. They kind of go here, and they kind of go there, and they kind of go everywhere. So I'm just doing really fine lines with my little flat square brush. Okay? So what you can also do is you can take the round brush, so the round liner brush, and you're just going to put a little bit of paint on the end. So I'm just putting a little bit of paint on the end of that brush. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold my brush almost like, you know when you do the pencil trick when you're a kid? And what you do is you take this liner brush and you roll it on the canvas. And you let that twig go wherever it wants to go. So when you roll it, it gives you really funky branches that are not straight lines. They end up being willowy. Just like this. Okay? So just roll, and you roll, and you roll, and you twist. As you're going, you twist your fingers like this. Just twist your fingers as you're applying the paint. So you'll see I'm just kind of going like this. And I make really interesting old rickety branches. Oh, Rachel, I'm really sorry that there's a buzzing noise. Gotta love Facebook. Alright, so you guys let me know when you've got your white branches on your trees. Again, like I said, take your time, because the more branches that you paint, the more interesting your painting is going to look. And then what you're going to do is when you're done that, you're going to let me know. And when you've got some white branches on those tree trunks, then you're going to let me know, because then we're going to move on to the next color. And what you're going to do is you're going to mix up a dark gray. Well, a medium gray, I guess, because dark gray is next. So just a medium gray color. So you guys let me know when you're ready to go. And then I'll show you what I've done. This is my medium gray color, okay? And yours doesn't have to be the exact same color. It can be a shade of that, a variation of that, but just a different kind of a gray, not pure white, but more of a gray color. I hope you guys can see that. So once you get your white branches done, then let me know, and we'll go on with the gray ones. Okay? I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how these are all going to turn out. And if you've never painted with me before, I always encourage you to make sure that you post lots of comments, post your paintings in the event afterwards, so that I can see all of the phenomenal paintings that have been created. Okay, so you guys let me know when you're ready. And we will go on and we will move on with our gray color, which is really very cool, because you'll start to see stuff come to life very quickly with this painting. It doesn't have to be a perfect gray. It can be streaky. You don't have to mix it perfectly up. It can have streaks in it when you're mixing it up on your palette, because that will give you interest on your trees when you're painting them as well. So see? come a little bit closer maybe, see if that helps. If I do it like this, and you can see there's some black on there, there's some gray on there, just a few different colors. Okay. Guys, let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up, give me an okay, give me a ready, so I know we can go on with the next step. Ooh, drum roll. I'm getting very excited because I want you guys to see how cool this is going to look. Oh, I see a thumbs up. We got a couple more. Give me a couple more. Give me a couple more. Oh, got another one. Thanks, Mary. Okay. Oh, got a couple more. Ooh, I think we're gonna get, I think we're almost there. Are we almost there? I think we're almost there. Fantastic. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we've got that funky gray, black, grayish color, and you're gonna go right, oh my God, I know this is a scary part, but it's okay, trust me. Okay, we're gonna put a couple of more trees in here now. You ready? But now I'm doing it in a gray color. Everybody see that gray one? Okay, maybe I'm going to put another one. And look at, I'm going right over top of those branches. It's okay. I can go right over top of those branches. Oh my gosh, I know, this is scary. And I'm going to maybe put 3 over here, just because I think I want three trees over here. Just for interest's sake. Okay, and I'm going to take that same gray color, and I'm going to put a couple over here, and I'm going right up to the top, and I'm going right over top of those white branches that we just put on there. See that? And if you have to mix up more gray, it's okay. You can mix up more gray. And I'm going to put another one right here. Another gray one right here. Just like that. Everybody see those? I hope you can see those. You should be able to see those. So we just went from some white ones, almost pure white. Now we've got more of a gray color happening. Okay? And I'm going to say the word okay a lot because I just want to make sure that you guys are all with me and that I haven't lost you. So we've got 3 over here now, and we've got 2 ones over here. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the white tree, now with the gray tree, and we're going to make branches. So doing the same thing, and I'm just going to start making some branches, and they're going to just start living out here and living, and they're going to cross over the white one, and you're going to get different colors happening. See that? I'm just going right over top of those white branches. You want to go right over top of those white branches because it's going to give you interest and it's going to make your painting look more realistic. Because you just imagine this is kind of a walk in the fall. The leaves are gone, getting ready for winter. And you're going to put a whole bunch of branches on these trees. And remember, they don't go straight out. They go on an angle. And they go over the other tree trunks that are in the forest already. They kind of live here and they kind of live there. And oh, I'm going over our source of light. That's okay, I want to do that because they don't just stop because the source of light is there. So you're just going to add more branches kind of here, kind of there, kind of everywhere. And if the lighter you touch on your canvas, the thinner your lines will be for your trees. So you want your branches to be nice and thin. And you're just going to get lots and lots of really cool branches kind of here, there, and everywhere. And then remember I told you the same technique if you want to use your round brush. Get some gray on that round brush, a little liner brush. And remember, you just roll it in between your finger and your thumb. You just kind of roll it here and roll it there, and you get all these really cool and gnarly looking branches that look like they've been in the forest for a gazillion years and nobody's touched them. And the woodpeckers have had a ball with them. And they just kind of roll. I'm just doing it barely touching the canvas because it just rolls off and on, just kind of here, there, and everywhere. I'm going right over those branches that we put in there with the white. And that's okay, we want to do that because it's going to create interest. It's going to bring your eye forward in the painting the more you put them in there. And just like that, just kind of here, there, and everywhere. That's all I'm doing. Everybody see those? Can everybody see those branches that are happening? I hope you can. Just kind of put your branches here and there. And the more branches you put on, the more interesting your painting is going to become. So we've got lots of branches happening on our trees. We've got some funky, gnarly old trees living in the forest right now. Alright, you guys let me know when you're ready. So I'm just going to keep adding branches here and there and everywhere. And if you need to mix up more gray paint, you can mix up more gray paint, but don't be afraid if it's a little bit different than the color that you used originally, because again, that's just going to give you interest in your painting. Just keep mixing and just keep using, and you're going to get all these funky colors starting to happen as you're going along, because your brush is going to mix and mingle with those other trees that are sitting in the forest. And it's going to give you different shades of gray as you go along as well. Okay. Woo, it's fun. This can be addicting because you can get to the point where you don't know when to stop. This part's really kind of fun. You make all these branches on all these trees. Kind of reminds me of my cottage where I grew up when I was a little girl. We would spend summers there. So it gives me that idea. That's the kind of the vibe I'm going for. Alright, you guys let me know when you're ready to go and we'll move on to the next step. Because we're getting there. We're making some really great progress. How are we loving it so far? Are we liking it? We liking the look of our trees so far? I hope so. I think this is going to turn out fabulous. I can't wait to see how this is all going to turn out. So we haven't really done anything a whole lot with our light source, and we don't really want to do a whole lot with our light source because that's very important for us. But we do have to add a little bit of interest in there. So that being said, I'm going to take my little liner brush, or you can take a Q-tip, or you can take the square, the flat square, and paint spaghetti. And we're just going to add a few little, almost twigs in our light source. Not very many, just a few. Just in the light gray, and you're barely going to see them. They're just going to kind of live in there. Just kind of here and there and everywhere. Alright, they're not too, I'm just kind of throwing a few in. Just a few, kind of here and there. I don't want too many in here, I just want a few. I just want the illusion because so it looks like there are still trees in the forest. But because, you know, when you look directly into the sun, you can barely see what you can see when you're looking in the sun, and that's kind of the look that we're getting and that we want when we get into the center here from our light source. We just want a few little twigs kind of here and there that gives you the illusion that the light source is still there, but there's still some trees that are kind of hanging around and watching and looking at everything. And that's all you've got to do in there. It's just a few little quick little strokes. So just a few little strokes, just kind of in the center of our light source. And that's all you need to do, and that's all you need to worry about in there. watching, and then you can do it by yourself when you get home or when you get comfy and when we get all done and you can start again, okay? Because I will post it up online like I always do. It'll stay there for about a week, and then I'll move everything over to my YouTube channel. All right, so if you're having a little bit of an issue, or you had to join us late, or you couldn't watch tonight, don't worry. We will make sure that we've got it up on our Facebook page. We'll keep it there for a few days, and then we'll move it over to our YouTube channel. All right, is that fair for everybody? I hope that that works for everybody. All right, you guys, let me know when you got your gray trees all kind of happening and hopping, because then we're going to get into some scary stuff, and I know this is going to be scary for some people. Totally get it. But it's okay. You've got me with you. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to help you through it. You just need to take deep breaths and trust the process. And don't be chickening out, and don't give me thumbs up because you're afraid of the next step. You got to let me know what's going on, because you're going to love it. I swear you're going to love it. It's going to look so amazing, and people are going to come in and they're going to see your beautiful masterpiece. They're going to go, you painted that? That's impressive. And then you can tell them that you painted it with me, and you are an artist. An artiste. All right, look at this. Look at this. We got some funky stuff happening already. How we doing? We got some gray trees happening? Can all be legends in our own mind. Oh, and I've got something really cool I'm going to tease you guys with when we get done this tonight too. Remind me about the tease, and then I will tease you with it too. Something really cool happening this week, and I was very flattered, so I'm just going to let you know about that. We gave you a little bit of a hint. All right, how we doing? How we doing? Are we ready? Are we ready? I hope we're ready. Okay, so remember how I said the further things get out from the lighter they look? When the closer they get into the light, the darker they're going to look. So, that being said, it's going to be scary. We're moving into black now. You ready? You guys all ready for me? You ready? You with me? All right. So we're going to just go and we're going to make a black tree. Not a big tree, just a little skinny black tree. Okay? So I'm going to put one right about here. Oh, I got to get some more black paint because I'm going over all this other stuff. And you'll notice that. Oh, there's a black branch. Oh, I know, that's scary. That's pretty scary to put a black line on there like that. And you'll notice it's not perfectly straight because nothing in nature is straight. Just take a look at my backside and I will be able to tell you. I am left-handed. Marnie, I'm left-handed. So paint along. You should be able to, I'm just kind of painting as I normally paint. I hold my paintbrush almost like a pencil. I find that I get better control over that. But you should be able to paint along if you're left-handed. Don't let it intimidate you. All right, everybody see that black line? We got a black line happening. Oh my God, guess what? We're gonna do another one. You ready? Are you ready? Take a deep breath. And right through our light source. Load up a little bit more paint. And up we go. Oh my God. And there's another black branch. Oh cow. Are you ready? I know it's scary. I totally get it. Oh, and you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to put one more on right there. Cool thing about painting is that you can do it however way you want to do it. And I will tell you that your eye is more attracted to odd numbers than it is to even numbers. So if that helps you. All right, so guess what? Now we got to do the same thing. We got to put some branches on our little black trees, and they have to have black branches. So again, you're going to just kind of go here and there. Just don't have to have very many, just a few little light ones here and there. This one doesn't have to have very many. As it kind of just as it lives out front. You'll notice, see, I'm just kind of doing this, kind of here and there. Your branches can be as big or as short or as thick or as thin as you want them to be. And I'm just kind of just laughing, just grabbing little bits of black paint kind of here and there. Oops, oopsie, just like that. There's no right or wrong way to paint a branch. Once you've got branches on, it just kind of makes your tree look much more interesting. And then same thing, you want to use the little brush, you grab some black paint, and you just roll. I'm just kind of rolling it as I'm painting. Barely touching the canvas, but I'm just kind of rolling. And I'm rolling as I grab the paint and start from the branch, and I kind of go in a 45-degree angle, just like that. And that gives me some black branches, kind of here and there. And again, they're more in the sun, so they're going to be darker because the sun's right behind them. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope it does. I hope I'm making sense. There we go. Just a few little black branches kind of here and there. And when we get all done, you can go back in and you can add more branches if you want. It's up to you. You can decide how many branches you want to live on your trees. Once we get done, you may go back and may decide that you want to add more branches to everything. All right, so once we got that, you've got those 3 or 2 or 1, however many you decided to do. I need everybody to grab their foam brush, and if you don't have a foam brush, you can use your big brush or your medium-sized brush or a Q-tip or a sponge. It's up to you. You decide which way you want to do it. Okay, so you guys got to give me a thumbs up and you got to let me know when we're ready to move on to the next step. This is going to be scary for some people. I know, I understand completely, but that's okay. It's all part of the fun of painting. So do you see how we've got a light source happening? And then we've got things that are just kind of building in front of that light source, but we still have our light source. It hasn't gone away completely. It's still there. And then all those little fun sponge marks that we made earlier with the paper towel, they kind of look like trees and leaves and everything happening in the background. Oh, I got a 1 thumbs up. I got a thumbs up. I got a thumbs up. Yay! My hands are covered in paint. Look at that. If you're not covered in paint, you're not having enough fun, I guess. Alright, so we did 3 branches over here. They're pretty substantial, but we still need to add some more interest over on this side of the painting. So over here now, you guys ready? I've got a 1 thumbs up. Oh, Linda, welcome. Linda did this painting with me a couple of years ago. Did you have fun doing this painting, Linda? I hope you did. All right. So, I'm going to use the foam brush. Can you see the paint on there? I think you can. Alright, okay. So over here on this side of the painting, I want kind of like an old crickety tree. So I'm going to use the foam brush. And I'm going to push down. So I want a nice thick branch. And then I'm going to push up and make that branch thinner. Everybody see what I just did there? So I pushed down, and then I kind of moved up, and I made that branch thinner as I went up. Mary, if you don't have a foam brush, you can use this, bigger brush. If you don't have a bigger brush, you can use Q-tips. You can use your kitchen sponge that we used at the beginning. Just use the short end, this end of it here. You can use a rubber spatula. You can use a knife. You can use whatever you want to use. So all I did was I just made one branch right there. Just a little guy. And I want him to have some interest. So I'm going to paint, you know how trees, sometimes they're old and they split? I'm going to do the same thing with this tree here. I'm going to make that tree split. And branches, don't forget when you're painting a tree, that the trunks are always thicker at the bottom than they are at the top. Right, so see how I've just made that tree split into two, just like that. Just using a foam brush. If you don't have a foam brush, you can use whatever you got kicking around. Okay, and then it's the same idea that we just did with all these branches over here. We want to put a few branches on this tree. So I'm just using spaghetti again, the spaghetti method, with my little square brush. Or like I said, if you got a Q-tip, use a Q-tip. Or use a flat edge, or use a thin liner brush, or use a knife, or use whatever you got kicking around your house. Alright, so I'm just going to add now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a few little branches off of this tree to give him some interest. He's just going to kind of live here. Maybe another one's going to kind of go here. Right, and I'm going over these gray trees again, and I'm going over the white trees, and I'm just kind of giving myself a few little branches to play with. Maybe there's an old bird that's kind of sitting there, ready to go. Maybe there's a squirrel kind of hanging out, looking to do his thing. Just like that. Not too many, just enough to give it some interest. I'm going to make that a little bit thicker there. Maybe make this one a little bit thicker down in here. You decide how you want that tree to look. So very same idea as everything else we've been doing. You're just making the branches a little bit thicker because he's a little bit closer to you than the rest of them. So this little guy lives like closer on the path than all the other ones. So he's going to have a few more branches. They're going to be a little bit bigger because there's a little more detail. As he lives close by. Just like that. So we got a nice little guy living over there. So he lives in the forest. These guys all live further back in the forest. And then we've got one more we got our big tree to do now. He's going to live right close up. So when you guys are ready, you let me know. And then we will move on to the next phase. And you'll notice that all of my branches are all different colors. They're not one solid color. And that's okay. We want them to be all different colors because that's what gives your eye interest when they're looking at paintings. All this in here is all background for our nice big tree and our path. So remember, tree trunks are always wider at the bottom and they get smaller as you go up. You guys let me know when you're ready. And we're going to make a big tree. Has the black been scaring everybody so far? We're pretty good. Everybody's all on the same page. We all kind of like the black. We're getting used to the black. It's not as scary as it looks when you first start doing it. I hope so. I hope you're loving this as much as I am. because this is a lot of fun for me. One of my favorite things to do is to paint. And I forget that sometimes, because sometimes you know how life can get hectic and life can get busy and life can get stressful. I always need to remember that going back to painting is always a very calming thing for me to do. Oh, I got an okay. Does that mean that we're all pretty much there? We're ready to go again? I hope so, because guess what, guys? There's not very many more steps and then we're going to be all done. It's pretty awesome. Okay, we ready to go? All right. Oh boy, we're going to make a nice big old knotty tree now. So using that foam brush again, or if you don't have a foam brush, you can use your big brush or your Q-tip or your rubber spatula or your piece of square kitchen sponge, whatever you've got. All right, and we are going to make a big tree. This is our big tree that's going to live in front. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to just kind of do 2 strokes, just like that. So that's my trunk. That's my tree trunk right there. Can you see that? There's my big tree trunk. All right. Everybody with me? Okay. So I'm using it wide, like a piece of lasagna. And I'm going up. And I'm going up. I'm grabbing some more black paint. And I'm going up. And as I'm going up, I'm actually going to start to turn my sponge. And it's going to become more like a piece of spaghetti. A big piece of spaghetti. Maybe a little weenie. And that is my first part of my tree. Is that scary? I hope it's not too scary. All right, so now that I know that that's where that branch is going to live, now I'm going to go over here, and let's maybe make one right here. So again, remember it starts wide, and it goes thin as it goes up. That's a little bit skinny there, so we're just going to go back in and make that one a little bit thicker, just like that. All right. Maybe right about there. I want it to be a nice big tree, nice big old knotty tree. It's been living in the forest for lots and lots of years. And then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that big old tree lives in the forest right there. How are we doing? Look at that. We got a tree. We got a tree living in the forest with us. And then maybe this one over here, maybe he needs to have a little branch that kind of goes like this. And I'm painting right over top of all my other stuff that I got going on in the background. And that's okay. We want it to. We want it to paint. We want it to go in there. And then maybe I'm going to put another little branch right here. And that's okay, because look at that. They go right over top of each other. Goes over your background, because this is the tree we want to live and be noticed in our painting. So there's our big old tree. How's that tree? How's your big old tree? Hello, big old tree. And there's our big old tree, just like that. Okay? You guys let me know when you get your big old tree done. That's the big base of our big old tree. And see, all that light source is still living in behind that tree. And then the only thing you have to do on this big old tree is just give him some branches, just like everybody else. He gets branches, just like everybody. Because he would look pretty funny if he was there just by himself, hanging out without any branches on him. So you'll notice I'm just making branches, just kind of flicking here and there, whatever way looks most interesting to me. Don't want that one to stop. Just like that. Just some big old branches kind of living off of this little tree. Here's our center point. just grab and throw a few little twigs on, some branches on that trunk. Make him look interesting. Right, maybe one here. One here. That's our big old tree. Look at that big old tree. He's just living in the forest. He's just waiting for us to take a walk and go and check him out. There's a beauty about trees. There really is a beauty about trees, especially when their leaves are all off. You can see all the intricate patterns that their branches make. Because their branches always make different patterns. No tree is the same. No two trees are alike, just like no two paintings are ever going to be alike. Look at that. Say, can you imagine this? Your kid climbing in that tree? That's a great climbing tree. And you'll notice that the bottom of my branch, my trunk of my tree, is down where my C is. Look at that. So we've got our light source, we've got all these fun and funky trees happening all in the background. Okay, you guys let me know when you are at that stage. And then we're going to just fill it in and we're going to have some fun and we're just going to make our path now. That's going to be the next thing that we're going to do is we'll make our path. That's the fun thing about this kind of painting is that you can paint forever with this painting. You'll always find different places that you can add branches and add interest. It's a lot of fun. Okay, you guys give me some thumbs up when you are at this stage, when you've got your big old tree hanging out in the forest. Because now we've got to make our path. It's going to be our next thing. We're almost done, guys, believe it or not. Woo, there we go. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. There we go. So we've got all of our nice little feathery trees in the background. We've got our source of light. So we've got to figure out a path so that we can get up to these trees and go and visit these trees. So remember I did that C down at the bottom a little bit earlier? Okay, just kind of remember where that C is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of my brush, this end right here, or the sponge, or the end of your flat brush, or whatever you've got, and I'm just going to make that, just kind of do a tiny little line there. Everybody see that little line that I just did? I hope you can see that little line that I just did. You might not be able to, but you can always do it. You can fill it in afterwards too if you want, okay? That little line is part of our path. And I am just making that path and I'm filling that path out. I went right up over top of the branch, the trunks. And the reason why I go up over the trunks is that our path has to go into somewhere. And we don't want our path to just stop in midair. So don't know if you can see that. I'm going to outline it with a little bit of white so you can kind of see what I just did. So this is our path. There. And it starts right about here. And kind of comes down. Kind of fills out. So the path is going to be wider at the bottom of your canvas. So it kind of comes around like this. And down like this. So my path is wide at the bottom of my canvas. And then it's going to just sink up and disappear into the forest. Everybody see that? I think you can all see that. And it's okay that I've outlined it in white. I did this for you guys so you can see what we're going to do next. Okay? So I've got my foam brush again. So if you don't have your foam brush, you can use your kitchen sponge, you can use your big brush, you can use your Q-tips, you can use your paper towel that we used earlier. And what you're going to do is you're going to load that. I'm loading with both colors now. Okay? I've got black on one side and I've got white on the other side of my foam brush. Okay? And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to push up, and I'm covering up some of the bottom of those trunks, and I'm mixing those colors together. And I'm going to add a little bit more white, and I'm going up, and I'm going in. And I'm just pushing up from the bottom, and I want it to look streaky. Everybody see how I'm making that look streaky? And I'm going right up over top of those branches, because this is going to look like a field afterwards. So we're just kind of walking in the woods, we're hanging out. I'm going right over that line that I painted earlier to show you, because that line was my guiding light, my guidepost. And I'm grabbing black and white. I just keep grabbing black and white, and I'm coming down all the way to the bottom. And it's not a perfectly straight, and I don't want it to be perfectly straight because it is a woodland path. And I'm going right up over top of those trunks of those trees because I want it to look like it's fading into the distance. Does that make sense how that works? Hi, Stephanie. Yes, it will be. I'm going to keep this on my Facebook page for the next few days. And then if you've liked my page, you'll be able to find it there. And after that, then I'm going to move it over to my YouTube channel. Same thing, it's the Paint Diva on YouTube. And every painting that we've done since we've been in COVID are there for you to look and view and do at your own leisure in your own time. Okay? All right, so look at that. See how we've got this funky little path thing happening? Isn't that cool? So we've got like a little mountain over here. So I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. And I'm going up over my trunk, over the trunks of the trees, over some of that spongy dust that we did earlier. All right, just like that. Helps if you make that noise too. And I'm just grabbing black and white with my sponge. My sponge brush. And I'm going right over those trunks of those trees. So it's the forest floor. And I'll grab a little bit more white and come down here with just a little bit of white because I got a lot of black on my brush from last time. I'm going right over that line that I made. Some more white in here. A little bit more white down here at the bottom. See, I'm not concerned. I don't want it to blend in. I want to be able to see all those colors because I want it to be interesting. Just like that. Look at that. Just a few little dabs here and there kind of thing. All right. And see, because we've marked out that little path earlier, see how it kind of goes from narrow, put a little dab in there, just like that, make it a little more interesting. So see, the path starts out really wide, and then it goes narrow, and it kind of looks like it's disappearing right into the woods. Look at that. That's your painting, guys. You don't want it to be too perfect. You want it to be jagged. You want to give it some color. You want to make sure that you can see lots of different colors in there so that it all blends and mixes together. And you have just created Walk in the Woods. Look at that. So that's what yours is going to look like. And then the only thing that you have left to do, because every artiste has to sign their painting. I just use my initials. And I just threw them on there, just like that. And they almost look like they blend in and they're part of the forest floor. So we have got Walk in the Woods completely done. using found objects, brushes, cotton swabs, kitchen sponges, paper towel, messy hands, and I hope that you had a lot of fun. I hope that you were able to create something. I can't wait. Please, please, please post your paintings in the comment section so that I can see them, because it makes me very excited when I see people create things. We will come back. We'll do it again. If you guys want to do it again, you've got to let me know if you're interested in doing it again, because I'm certainly more than willing to do that for you. The next one that we'll do will probably be Flower Power. If you haven't seen that, again, give my page a like and you can go look in the paintings in the catalog and you can see that painting. Again, and then I was going to tell you, I'm going to tease you a little bit. I was approached by a company here in Oshawa, Ontario, to speak to them and do a promo for them as a small business owner in the with their company, and so I'm pretty excited about that. But once I've got it all done and once everything's confirmed, I will let you know, and I'm going to be in a commercial. Pretty exciting! Tooting my own horn. Toot toot. So happy Friday, everybody. I hope that you had lots of fun. Thank you for joining in from all over the place. It really makes me happy. Please feel free to share this page and this video with all of your friends and family. If they're looking for something fun to do, you guys can all paint along together. And join us again. Follow us and like us on Facebook and Instagram at The Paint Diva 1. And we will see you soon. You guys let me know if it's something that you want to do again, if you want to keep doing these. I will do these as long as there's people that are interested in doing them. I don't want to do them and make you feel obligated. Okay? So can't wait to see your beautiful creations. This is Walk in the Woods. Happy Friday. And take care, guys. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. And have a great night. Bye now.